The wood of the piano bench pressed up hard against my thighs. A trickle of sweat, a single cold bead, slipped down my spine. I could hear my heartbeat in my skull, muffling the sound of my own shaky breath. Out beyond the footlights, the jury sat rigid, black-robed, unreadable. The recital hall of the conservatory seemed to shrink, walls inching closer, until the only thing left in the world was the Steinway and me, isolated, exposed. My fingers hovered over the keys. Liszt. I was supposed to make it fly, but my mind fractured just before the first arpeggio, and instead of leaping into that glorious tumbling passage, my hands faltered. I tried again, missed a note, fumbled for the rhythm. The first judge, a gray-haired woman with hawkish eyes, closed her folder. That sound echoed sharper than any mistake. My chest constricted, notes blurred together, left hand lost to panic, right hand clinging to the melody by its fingernails. A titter, barely stifled, came from the back of the hall. I slammed the final chord far too early. It sounded like a lid dropping on an empty coffin. For a few seconds, silence. Not the transporting quiet of awe, but a heavy, embarrassed hush. The world flattened. My vision tunneled. I heard my own voice whisper, shaky, "Thank you," before I walked off stage, legs trembling, hands numb. As I passed the wings, I thought I heard one of the substitute professors sigh. Another dreamer lost in the lights. I ran to the bathroom and vomited into the cracked porcelain sink. That was my last audition at the Madrid Royal Conservatory. I was 19, hungry, frightened, and shamed into silence. The aftermath unfolded as an open wound. Word spread fast among the other students, then through the faculty. Whispers followed me in corridors. My roommate Clara returned to our flat that night with questions written all over her face, but never actually asked. She was kind that way. But when I returned home, back to the third-floor apartment in Carabanchel, with its peeling wallpaper and the din of traffic always leaking through the glass, there was no buffer. Only my family and their disappointment. My father sat in his armchair, soccer on mute, arms folded. My mother, apron still on, wiped her hands on a dish towel, as if scrubbing away the mess of me. My older brother Alejandro sat at the table, smirking softly, phone in hand. "How was it?" my mother asked in a voice taut as piano wire. I stared at my shoes. I didn't pass. I lost it. Lost it? Or wasted all those years? My father murmured, barely glancing up. Alejandro snorted. All that for what? Long fingers and nerves. You could have learned something real. Architecture, yes? Like Papa? The words tumbled down on me. Ridiculous was what my uncle called it when I said I wanted to play for orchestras. My cousins, when they'd visit, mimed ridiculous swoons at the family get-togethers. "Oh, Manuel, free concert, yes?" Diego once put a colander on his head, hammering out chopsticks on the taped-up coffee table while everyone howled. Most nights after that, I practiced piano in a storage closet at the local community center, where the uprights keys stuck and smelled faintly of must. I practiced until my wrists throbbed or my arms went numb. Coming home only when exhaustion drowned out memory, my mother grew silent. My father started leaving trade magazines around, marked with Post-it notes. IT training, paid internships, companies hiring now. No one said music or conservatory. It was as if the dream had been a fever we were all relieved to be rid of. Without the prospect of returning to the conservatory, I took work at a small bookstore, shelving tomes and tallying up receipts. Sometimes on weekends, I played for private gatherings at cafes where the background clatter drowned me out. I'd catch a corner of a mocking smile from someone who'd gone to school with me. Manuel, still chasing it, that look said. Still attached to that childish hope. I sent audition tapes to orchestra after orchestra, scattered not just across Spain, but Europe as well. Most gave only form replies, thank you, no. A few sent tapes back with brief, impersonal feedback. But in that wasteland of rejections, one thread persisted. Late at night, in silence, alone with the keys, the music didn't mock me. It forgave all awkwardness. I learned what it meant to play purely for the act of playing. Not for applause, not for validation, but for the sense of wholeness it built inside me. Fragile as glass at first, but growing sturdier, note by bruised note. 3 years later, I was 22. The Madrid night was bright with neon and humid with promise, but I was beyond numb to its luster. I still played those bar gigs, collected barely enough pay to keep a cramped flat in Lavapiés, and taught a few children whose mothers watched over my shoulder, lips pursed, eyes full of caution. I hope my daughter doesn't think this is a real thing. Spring breathed damp jasmine through the city. One afternoon, in a fit of teeth-clenched resolve, I sent out another round of auditions, one to the Prague Chamber Ensemble, one to the Municipal Orchestra of Florence, and, on an unlikely whim, a last application to a brand-new competition I found online, the Schumann Foundation for Virtuoso Pianists Under 25. No fee, open invitation, they claimed. My hands trembled as I recorded the etudes, sweaty palms smearing the keys. I sent it off, then let it go, fully expecting nothing. For weeks, silence. Then an email. I was one of 6 finalists, chosen out of hundreds. I was invited to Vienna for the semifinals in June. Airfare and accommodation paid. My world split at the seams. All the closed doors, the boxed-up years, suddenly, a crack of light. The weeks leading up to that flight were swollen with hope, and anxiety sharpened into a blade I balanced on every practice session. I worked through dawn, sacrificed meals. Clara, who still believed in me, and who had never stopped bringing me cheap coffee to keep me sane, watched me with growing concern. "Promise me you'll remember to breathe up there," she said, handing me a faded scarf for luck. "I'll try," I said, "but I make no guarantees." Vienna was gray and wet when I arrived, the air thick with the smell of rain and pavement. The palace where the contest was held looked like something out of a film. With gold leaf cornices and enormous velvet curtains, the inside was a labyrinth. The night before my performance, I barely slept, tensing every time I pictured the jury's grave faces. But in the wings, as I waited my turn, I thought of all that ridicule, all the doubters, the way my father had looked right through me, the colander on Diego's head, the ache of all those rejections. And for the first time, as I sat before the black Steinway, I felt nothing but a quiet, defiant courage. I let the first bass notes anchor me. The piece climbed, spun upward. Brighter and brighter. My hands soared. I forgot the jury, forgot the audience, forgot Madrid, forgot the bookstore, the sticky cafe floors, the leaky flat. All that existed was music, and the fierce, impossible hope beneath it. When I finished, there was a moment of stunned quiet, then applause that filled the whole marble chamber, bouncing and swelling, larger than anything I'd ever felt. I made it to the final round, and from there, with every atom in my being, I played not to prove something to the old judges back home, but because for those minutes I saw the door open to a life I had imagined in secret. I came in second. No gold medal, but enough. Concert offers followed, lessons with renowned teachers, a regular seat at a professional chamber group. The next 2 years were a blur of travel: Florence, Berlin, Paris, Oslo. New halls, new music, new names to memorize, new faces in the audiences. My face appeared in thin columns in music magazines. Phone calls started arriving not just from small venues, but from established orchestras. I sent the announcements home, but heard little in reply. Madrid, meanwhile, seemed to recede. I came back only at Christmas. The apartment smaller, my parents older, Alejandro now a real architect with a wife and a baby boy named Tomas. The city's streets had shifted, graffiti and all.